Do you know what's common between failures in Bollywood movies, failures in business, and failures in your life?
So today I want to talk about how to think like a venture capitalist, right?
Thinking like a VC.
Okay. But before we get to that, I want to start with a factoid and a story.
Okay.
So when I was young, my uncle had a theater, right? And that's why I knew a little about the movie business.
Okay.
And I was shocked to find out that 8 out of 10 Bollywood movies lose most of their money. Okay.
Wow.
The 9th one just barely breaks even.
Okay.
So I was surprised. I mean, just one movie is making a decent profit. And how is this industry even function? It took me a little while to realize that the 10th movie, which makes a profit, which makes so much profit as to make up for all the losses in the other 8. And that's what is keeping all of Bollywood afloat.
Now you know why Salman keeps the entire Bollywood industry afloat.
Yes. Actually, that is true. You think it's a joke, but it's not.
No, it's part joke and a lot of truth.
Yeah. And you know, it was just a factoid. I didn't connect it up until I got involved in startups in like my 30s, right? But let's go back to my childhood, right? Well, no, as in, okay. Let's, the other one I want to talk about is my mom. Okay. When she wants to buy a book, okay, what she does is that she'll hear about the book somewhere. Then she will go and read up reviews on that book. And all the reviews have to be good, otherwise she will not consider the book.
True.
Then she will ask me to find out how much the book costs. Then she will ask somebody else if they know about the book, did they like the book. And after all of this research, only then she will buy a book which costs 130 rupees. Okay.
I kind of get that because reading a book is investing time and she might want to, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, more than that, she grew up, middle class India in last century where money was always tight, right? So you have to be thrifty, right? And middle class India does not spend money without being sure that there is
a good return on investment on that money.
Right?
Yeah.
That it should be worth it.
It has to be.
And that's exactly what my mom is doing with books, right?
But I mean, we call it middle class mentality, but the idea is, I get what she's trying to do and I kind of understand where she's coming from.
Me, on the other hand, when I buy books, I don't think that much, right? Often, I look at a book, I read the back cover, it seems interesting enough, I will buy it, right? And if I buy 10 books, 8 of them I don't read.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
One of them I read and it doesn't work as well for me, but
the 10th book
makes up for all the money I spent on the other 8.
Thinking like a VC.
Thinking like a VC. So where does VC come into the picture? Right?
Exactly.
When I started getting interested in the startup industry, that's when I found out that this is how the VC industry works, similar to Bollywood, right? A venture capitalist invests in a portfolio of startups. Okay.
Correct.
And their business is similar. 8 out of 10 startups are going to, of the startups they invest in, are going to fail and not return any money. One of them will have just sort of a middling success. So it just barely returns the money or gives like a little 10% profit or something like that. But the 10th startup becomes a unicorn, succeeds so much that all the investments that the VC made in all 10 startups
is basically cleared out.
It's basically cleared out. Okay. Yeah. Now the numbers might be different. It won't be 8 out of 10 and exactly, right? But the basic idea is there.
What I'm basically thinking is as long as the 10th startup makes enough for you to not worry about the 8 that you've lost money on, the 9th that you're not making any additional revenue on or profit on, it works, the equation works in that sense, right?
Exactly.
So it has to be at least a 10x return for it to be any useful.
Right. So, and what I started realizing, connecting it back to these two stories, is that, I grew up in a middle class household,
So did
thinking
I.
like my
Yes.
mother. And every time I spent money, I needed to see an ROI. But as I got more and more involved in the startup industry, I realized that there is this other style of thinking, and that there are areas of my life where I should be or could be applying that thinking to get a much better value out of things, right?
Okay. Like what areas of your life? Can you give us an example or two?
So, I'll give first simple examples and then we can go to more complex ones. Simplest example is that on social media, right? Earlier, I used to think, before every post, I used to think 3 times, okay, does this make sense? Should I put this or not? Right? And a lot of people are like that.
I am like that because when I post something on social media,
It has to be a good quality thing.
it has to have some value to the person reading it. Otherwise, I feel like I'm wasting the other person's time.
Correct. What you are doing is doing the same thought process with a tweet that my mom does with books.
Look, I am happy being compared with Naveen's mom, but this somehow sounds like not right.
Yeah. So, we'll come to that. I'm not saying that what my mom does is always wrong, okay? But we'll come to that later. But the thing is that, don't think so much. See, as in, I see if I put out a tweet and then it does, nobody likes it, there is no responses to it, I see it as a failure.
It feels like a failure because if nobody's engaging with it, then you haven't really A, added value, and B,
Correct.
you're alone in the world.
Yes. What we have to learn in thinking like a VC. See, a VC invests in 10 startups and sees 8 failures.
So it's like he's put out 10 tweets and 8 of them have got no engagement.
Exactly. A VC is not bothered by that as long as there is one outsized success.
Right.
That's how you should be doing your social media also.
You're going to see a lot of posts on my timeline from now on. So
There are 2.
I'm not going to apologize for it. He told me to think like a VC.
Absolutely. If you see some of the most successful people on social media have a very high volume.
Yes, I can think of several of them right now.
But, to you, it might look like a whole bunch of them are not high quality. Okay. But the point is that just like in a VC, if the VC knew which one is going to give the return, they would have just invested in that one, right?
Correct.
The whole
Makes
point
sense.
is that beforehand you don't know which one is going to succeed. That is one. And second is that each one that succeeds should be capable of a 10x return or more.
Right.
So that's how you should think of your social media posts, right? That if it clicks,
It has to click
Quite a
10x
lot,
for it to make any sense.
And see, social media is anywhere, most people view it as frivolous, although I don't, because for me, I have gotten so much out of social media. Lifelong friends, business,
Me.
connects, Shrikant, yes, right? So, but still, people might view social media as frivolous. So why don't we take something else?
Okay, like what?
Finding jobs, right?
You can only have one job. How does this...
When you're applying for a job, right? Don't be like, oh my God, should I apply or not? Should I send them my resume or not? Right? You just try 10.
Okay.
Or 50, right?
Or 100.
Or 100, because you're going to get lots of rejections. The main thing I want you to get comfortable with is the failure. A lot of people are so worried about failure that they don't shoot their shot.
Okay.
Right?
Now, because you use shoot your shot, I am going to come back to that a little later because shoot your shot means very different things. And I'm not sure if that applies in context. But on the topic of jobs, one of the worries is not just that not just that there are going to be failures, but that every failure is it diminishes your confidence. So which is why a lot of people don't.
So do you think that a VC who sees 8 failed startups, is it going to diminish their confidence?
It, yeah.
Probably
yeah,
does, right?
Yeah.
But they train themselves to not.
Okay.
If they can't deal with those 8 failures, they will not be a VC. They'll not be a good VC.
Yeah.
Same thing applies to you.
All right.
Right?
So I think what you're explaining about this job scenario particularly applies in case of freshers who are looking for their first job.
Yeah.
All right. Because people who are already in a job and looking to switch probably will not need to apply 100 times. But freshers will probably.
Well, you'll be surprised, but see, I mean, this doesn't have to apply in each and every situation.
Fair.
But take another example, right?
Like
that. You just moved to a new place, right? You have no friends. Now, to make friends,
I don't have to move to a new place for that.
Yeah. So, same thing applies, right? You are so afraid of, I mean, at least I am, right? Of just, connecting to someone who's just an acquaintance or even maybe a stranger and saying, let's get together for a coffee and talk about it and all of that, right? And you know that, in 8 out of 10, it is not going to click, and that time got wasted, plus you feel like a failure.
This feels a bit ruthless to me.
See, it is not ruthless. You're exploring, right? Let's go exploring.
Well, this one is sorry man, I'm late.
Okay.
But the other t-shirt that I sometimes wear does say let's go exploring. So we are going exploring. Yeah. But at the same time, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. The other person also realizes it doesn't work out. So no skin off anybody's nose.
Just remember, see, when you have invested in 10 startups, right? When one of the startup fails, the maximum that you lose is just your investment.
Okay.
Same thing with you invested in trying out a new friend or a relationship, right? The maximum you lose is the time for that one meeting, right?
Right.
Whereas when the 10th one succeeds, you have a friend for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Right? So, point being that when it succeeds, how much is the return? The larger the return, the more you should be willing to try things that are likely to fail. The more investment and failures are justified.
Okay, so the way I see it is what you're describing seems like a high risk, high reward situation, which I completely understand.
Yeah.
And you're also saying that we need to stop thinking in the middle class mentality.
Actually, I'm not saying that, okay? Because I grew up middle class and I really respect that mentality, okay? It is a good mentality for most things, okay? When I am looking for jeans to buy,
okay,
right? It's like, oh, this jean didn't work out for me, so I'm a failure. And then the one that works, it does not give me 10x return on anything, right?
It does, yeah.
There's no 10x return there. So there, whatever, middle class things you do, that, is this a good
being
brand?
Prudent about money, it is called, don't call it middle class things you do. It's just being prudent with your money.
No, it's not just being prudent with your money. That's 2 more steps, right? You do research on the product you're buying. You find out if it is going to be durable and it is going to be comfortable. And you put in a lot of effort into that, right?
Yes.
So there, it is okay. Right? Because a success isn't 10x.
I hear
Most things in life don't have a 10x success. Okay. When the ROI is just, thoda sa, there it is okay to do all the due diligence and be afraid of failure and, try to do things in such a way that you don't fail. Right? You don't want to be in a situation where you spent on jeans and then you don't ever wear them after the first time.
Good point. So what I hear from this conversation so far is there are clear situations where you should be thinking like a VC, and there are clear situations where you should be thinking, or you should apply this this prudent thinking, this middle class mentality. I hate calling it middle class mentality, but it's the closest example I can. It's the closest phrasing I can think of. But how do you differentiate between the two? When do you think like a VC and when do you not think like a VC?
Just see, when it succeeds, how much is it going to change your life?
So you need to estimate that beforehand.
Yes. And in most cases, you would know upfront how much it is going to change your life if it succeeds, right? If it is just a minor thing, then you want to be prudent.
Okay.
If the change can be a major thing and the investment is small compared to the ROI, then you want to think like a VC.
Hold on, this applies to everything in life?
Sure.
Including relationships?
Including relationships.
Including shooting your shot?
Yes.
This is why I said, be very careful, because shooting your shot means very different to the next generation, to the Gen Z.
Yes.
So you are saying they should be shooting their shot every time?
Well, as in not every time, but far more than they normally do.
Okay, now I need you to explain this. What do you mean by far more than they usually do? Because they do a lot.
Yeah, no, not necessarily, right? Everybody is afraid of failure.
Oh,
okay. Everybody is afraid of failure. Everybody like thinks over and over and over again. Should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I do this? Right? And overthinking, right? So being prudent, right? Doing as much due diligence as my mom does for buying jeans. I'm saying that's not necessary in some cases where the ROI is huge.
This video just went on a completely weird tangent with a Gen Xer and a millennial telling a Zoomer to go shoot your shot and telling them scientific reasons why they should be shooting way more than they are.
Okay, like,
what universe are we in?
Reason US has far more startups and far more successful startups and far more founders than the rest of the world. One of the reasons is because there is like a forced pressure to be dating in high school, right? And you have to shoot your shot, you have to deal with failures, and that same mentality is needed to do a successful startup.
It's a very warped explanation and a very warped idea, but I think I get it. So, you know what, Zoomers? Go shoot your shot. Shoot all the shots you want. Have fun. So,
let me take a simpler example, okay? That, you know, when you're buying books, okay? A book costs you in terms of
time and money.
The money is actually very small compared to any other, you know, if you take the number of hours you spend on a book versus how much money per hour, right? It is trivial.
Correct.
Okay? The time you spend is some level of investment, but you know, you can fail fast. As in, you start reading, it didn't work, you give up, right?
Fail fast is a very interesting thought, and I think we have a video on that as well.
Yeah, fail fast is an important one. But a book that clicks, right, can have such a huge impact, right? I have two examples. One is that I have my copy of Ender's Game and of The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime has been read by so many kids and so many adults that it is like the ROI is incredible, right? Also, the books by Yakov Perelman on maths and science that we bought when I was in 6th standard have been so important to me that I feel that my JEE rank can be attributed directly to that, right?
Oh, okay.
So yeah, the ROI for books can be very outsized.
Yeah. That makes sense. So, from what you've been saying so far, it seems like people should be applying this VC thinking to this channel and all the videos that we are making for this channel.
Absolutely, right?
Okay.
We are doing that. I mean, at two levels, right? One is that I have done all kinds of things related to content like this, right? I have used Twitter, I have used Substack, I have used Posterous, I have used Blogspot, I have used, you know, at least 10 of them, right?
Posterous doesn't exist, and all of the others, we'll put links to them in the description.
Well, actually, no, a bunch of them failed. 8 of them failed, right? So the really active ones is primarily Twitter. Okay, and Substack.
We'll put links to Naveen's Twitter and my Twitter, and not Twitter anymore, but probably our Mastodon handles as well in the description.
So yeah, and you know, doing a YouTube channel was part of that. I am not at all a video person. I'm not comfortable with video, but I'm giving it a shot. I might fail. This might go nowhere, but you have to try, right? Even within this channel, what episodes we do, what topics we put for episodes, same concept, right?
Yeah, 8 out of these 10 videos might not work, but 9th and 10th, or maybe one of the 9th and 10th, if they work, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, you talk to Akash. I mean, he has a bunch of other video channels, and this is exactly what he is seeing. That, you know, one video can get way more views than everything else combined. So, yeah.
One video can basically make the channel into
Absolutely.
what it is.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. So where can people go to read more about this concept of thinking like a VC?
So funnily enough, this is not like a well-known concept as such, of at least applying the thinking like a VC to regular life. Right?
Because I don't remember seeing any books on this topic.
No, so I've not seen either. This is just something I came up with. But the good thing is that there are so many good VCs writing about how to think like a good VC.
Name a few.
So Paul Graham, Peter Thiel, these are two important examples because they write very well.
Okay.
So Paul Graham essays, right? He has a website with all his essays, right? A lot of them are about the startup world. He is a VC. When you read them, it is about startups, right? But given what we have discussed, you can take those ideas and apply them to your life, and you will find that there's a lot of insights there that you can use. Similarly, Peter Thiel's book, 0 to 1, is about startups, but you don't have to use it in a startup context. You can use those ideas in your life.
That's actually a very interesting way to look at things. Take ideas from the startup life and apply them to your life. So whatever failures happened in startups, take learnings from them and apply so that you don't face similar failures in your life. And that is, I think, a very good place to say bye-bye. My name is Srikanth. He is Naveen. This was Future IQ.
Goodbye.